But I thought this was interesting because everyone's trying to find the right way to decide eventually whether it's college football's 4 teams, and then eventually when they go to 12, which they've put some automatic bids in when they do grow and expand. But he just said, what the hell? Let's go back to the days of when they had the BCS. Remember those days? And it wasn't always flawless. There's always going to be the argument. In 2008, came down to Texas and Oklahoma. And remember, it came down to like decimal points. But leave that up for a little bit, Garrett. This is, I got this thing upside down. This is what would be, go all the way to where it says poll average. You're looking at different type of power data. You're looking at even the rankings, where Georgia at 9-0 at the top, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU. But if you count also some of the analytics, which I don't know why that would be bad, here's how it would rake out. You have Georgia, you have Ohio State, you have Michigan, then you have TCU, Tennessee. Look, Alabama's down about where most people have them in the polls. The changes on the right, the team that probably benefits the most would be, it looks like LSU, who moved up, of course, because of the win. That's +8 after their win against Alabama. Bama dropped 7, Bama dropped 3 spots. Clemson dropped 7 spots. So what do you think? Do you think that there would be any way that that could be possible rather than every bit of pressure being on the College Football Playoff Committee, and that way also could take away some of them having to make crap up along the way?
Well, look, if you did the first 6, the highest ranked 6 conference champions, which could be ranked by analytics, and then the next 6 teams after that, and the committee didn't have to do anything but just, vet and make sure, you wouldn't even need as many people as are on the committee right now. You could say, look, this is what the games have told us. This is what the machine has told us. I don't think people were mad at the BCS because it was done by a computer. I think people were mad at the BCS because it was a computer just doing the same thing that everything had been doing, So the computer's supposed to get you to the top 2. Great. Okay, those 2 teams are going to play in a bowl game. All right, that's not the complaint everybody had. Everybody was like, well, there's more than 2 teams that should be in this thing. And then
no, there was a complaint because Nebraska got in 2001, and there's no way they should have been, right? That led to the BCS, right? 97, Michigan, Nebraska splitting the national title led to that as well.
But yeah, what I'm saying is the BCS, I don't think people were mad that they used a computer to determine who the top 2 teams were. I think at that point it was, most people wanted a playoff even back then, which was a long time ago. And it was, okay, well, now you've given you a system that are going to take just the 2 polls out of this thing. Well, that was not the only problem. It'd be like going to the doctor and he'd be like, listen, doc, I've got a headache, I've got a stomach ache, and I've got, a blurry vision. And he's like, well, I can give you something for the stomach ache. And you're like, well, hold on a minute. Why am I here? Like, let's get all the things cured.
Craig?
I mean, should we use it for, rankings still? I mean, I wonder, why do we have a top 25 tonight? Like, why do we need a top 25 of rankings from the committee?
We don't.
Other than to just justify their top 4.
No, the top 25, and I think we all agree on this, is that they can then have teams that are in the top 25 that validates the ones who are 1 through 4. Or even 1 through 6 or 8, correct?
That's what I just asked. I said, why do we have it unless it's just other than just to justify the top 4? I'm, somebody who got a bit disenchanted with the BCS by the time we rolled around was Alabama, LSU in a regular season rematch. I just felt like that was just very stale. That game turned out to be awful. And, I understand that that's what the computer said, but I just feel like, there's a mix that can be had. It doesn't have to be all robots or all human beings. I don't know why there's this feeling that it has to be. It's not like the humans are working with just, just their own thoughts. I mean, they're reading printout after printout after printout of what the computer said the numbers tell them and what the computer numbers are. And they're using that to base their decisions off of those in many cases. So I don't know. Like when it comes to this, man, like I was talking the other day, there's so many different analytical people now in sports, whether that's college football, college basketball, pro sports, whatever. I've never been a math guy, never been a numbers guy. And so all of it's just like reading Mandarin to me sometimes. But I find it fascinating, and I see that there is a lot of information that is valuable and helpful. And I just, I'm of the opinion where I'm not death to computers and the BCS was evil. And I'm also not somebody that thinks that the committee is just rigging it, time and time again. But I do feel like there is a little bit more funny business going on when it comes to the people in charge versus the computers in charge. And so I would like there to be some sort of a middle ground they could reach, that it's not all based on one or the other, because I think that would probably give you that human element combined with the hardcore numbers. And give you maybe just the right mix of opinions. And I don't know. I'm just glad we have a playoff. That's what I'm glad for.
I'm glad we do.
It helps alleviate some of that, yeah.
It used to be these are the two teams by polls, and that's it. Remember, there was a time, and then we come back with Rocky Blyer, where I believe, I don't remember which one, but one of the polls, they declared who was number one at the end of the regular season. The bowl games didn't count in the national championship picture. And that, of course, eventually changed. Of course it should count, but it didn't, and that's okay. That's the way it was at the time. Baseball used to have an American League versus National League champion, two big divisions, two leagues, they played each other. That was it. Now there's like how many teams that seem to make both the American League and National League playoffs? When we come